He is the managing partner of M Legal and heads the global practice of the firm with a footprint in India, United Arab Emirates, Singapore, and the United Kingdom. Mohit specializes in M&A, energy, taxation, TMT, so technology, media, and telecommunications, and antitrust. He has over 22 years of law firm experience, and definitely the most interesting thing about him, he has a Commonwealth gold in powerlifting. In the middle here, we have Patrick Ayers. Did I say that correctly? Patrick is a former General Counsel of Rugby Australia. He is now Lead Counsel advising Australia on the hosting of the Rugby World Cup 2027, which is the world's third largest sporting event after the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup. And he is working very closely with World Rugby. He was previously a lawyer, a competition lawyer at White & Case in New York. Last but not least, we have Amir Sadeh. He is a partner in the corporate and commercial group at the Boston office of Pearl Cohen, which is an international law firm with offices in the US, Israel, and the United Kingdom. Amir has over 15 years of experience working with corporate clients on a variety of commercial, corporate, and strategic matters. His experience includes representing private companies on fundraising, mergers and acquisitions, cross-border transactions, joint ventures, and general corporate and commercial matters. So, without further ado, let's get into the topic of today. So, to start, I think it would be useful to set out the context of where we are in terms of the digitalization of sport and the migration from traditional media and traditional fan engagement into this digitalization. And so I'll start with Patrick, and I want to get from you, given your experience in dealing with media rights deals, so traditional media rights deals, and then your role as General Counsel of Rugby Australia, so a rights holder. Could you kind of set the context and explain kind of how things used to work, how they've changed, and kind of where we are right now with regards to media rights deals or any deals to do with kind of the delivery of content to fans?
Yes, and thanks, Natalie. Thanks very much for organising today's panel. Thanks to you all for coming to listen to us. Thanks to Elaine in the back who's doing the mixing today, and also doubling as our videographer, which is terrific. And it's a great honour to be part of this very esteemed panel and to be here at Miami with the IBA. Sport is a universal passion, not just for us panellists, but I'm sure for many of you in the audience. It's also increasingly a major industry and a rapidly growing one, not just for athletes and broadcasters, but also for a growing group of international lawyers. And there's an incredible novelty and volume of legal issues being thrown up by the digitalisation and some of the innovation that we're seeing in professional sports. And I think what we've experienced is that professional sport has really been a vehicle for some very significant digital innovation. The COVID years were tough for sport. Sport was probably impacted more than most industries. But post-COVID, the community and the connectivity that sport enables is probably more important than ever. So it's a really exciting time to be in this space, and there's a lot happening that we've all had experience of in different markets that we can look forward to sharing with you today. As Natalie mentioned, my background was initially as a private practice litigator here in the United States. I'm now working on the rights holder side, so working for Rugby Australia and for the Rugby World Cup. And you know, like any sport or any rights holder, rugby is on this sort of digital and social transformation journey, and there are a lot of sort of legal potholes on that journey which we're experiencing and working through. Rugby is not the preferred code of football here in the United States. It is growing, and with the United States set to host the Rugby World Cup in 2031, so the edition after Australia, there's likely to be a decade of significant expansion and growth in rugby here in this market. In other markets where rugby is more established, and there are very diverse geographic and cultural nations that play rugby, from Japan to Argentina to Italy to Fiji to South Africa and all over the world. So I think the experience we've had is probably similar to a lot of other sports and rights holders that are going through the same transition. In terms of where we are in the landscape now, there's been a real push towards the digitisation of content, as we all know. That's not to say that linear transmission, linear broadcast is not important. It's still very important. I think in our experience, most rights holders and broadcasters have effectively a triple play strategy where broadcast, mobile and streaming are all equally important. What we've seen, I think, in recent years, probably in the last 4 or 5 years, that the mobile and streaming side, the digital, the non-linear side, has really been a hotbed for a lot of the more exciting changes and innovation in the space. It has enabled a high level of customisation, of personalisation of content, and as a result of increasing relevance and convenience for fans. Fans love that. It generates more fan avidity, it generates more loyalty, and as a result, sports rights has become an extremely valuable property in all the major markets, including the US and Europe, and all over the world, really. In Asia Pacific, you see that increasingly. And as a result, it's a very appealing market for digital advertising, which is an enormous volume. I think $130 billion annually in the US now, which is more than the combined spend on television. And I think a lot of it comes from the natural benefits you get from this highly customised, highly personalised capabilities that sport can now deliver. And a lot of that success, I think, has been dependent on technological advancements in the delivery of non-linear broadcast products. It wasn't very long ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, where there was latency issues and buffering issues with watching live sport online. Many of those issues have now been resolved. There's a high level of reliability, dependability on online streamed sports. And sports fans probably have the lowest tolerance for technical issues during a live sport, a penalty shootout, or what it might be. If there's a buffering issue, you'll hear about it immediately, and fans have zero tolerance for technical issues. So it's a really important element of the success of non-linear digital sports delivery. And just the final thing I'll say in this opening part is that one of the exciting aspects of the innovation we've seen in this space is that it really creates optionality for fans in terms of how they interact with content. And that's both in terms of the time of day that a fan will choose to watch sport. It doesn't need to be live, it can be delayed. The duration of the content that they are seeking to engage with, be that the full replay or the full live sport product, or a longer edition flips package, or a short form package, or even the type of content. And we'll talk a little later about some of the sort of ancillary content that now is driving a lot of fan engagement in sports. Additional camera angles, additional commentary, data visualization, gaming, or all of these other options that a fan has to consume their sport of choice or their sports of choice. And that's appealing not just for the avid fans, but also for the casual fans, or for the sort of drifting fans, who are really important to kind of keep in the sports economy, and to monetize those fans as well. So it's I guess in opening, it's an extremely interesting and challenging and exciting time to be involved in this area. And it's great to be here.
Thank you very much, Patrick.